Hello and welcome back to Buckle Up. I'm Harry King and this is a Hyundai Bayon, which is Hyundai's smallest crossover. But is it any good? Okay, let's take a look around the outside of this Bayon. So we'll do this POV. We'll start here at the front. You've got this big grille here and this silver scuff plate. That's to make it look off-roady, as this is a crossover, allegedly, although you'll notice it's actually quite low profile. You've got lots of interesting lighting things going on. So like a lot of the Hyundai range, you've actually got sort of daytime running lights and then proper headlights down here. You've got a nice big badge. This sort of looks like it might be a light bar, but it isn't. And then moving down the side, we've got a bit of interesting sculpting on the wing mirrors here. I guess that might be aero related. You've got the first hint at the powertrain, and then down below that, you've got alloy wheels, very premium. These ones are 17 inches. You've got a colour contrast roof, and you've got all of these interesting sculpting lines along the side. So you've got this thing here, and then this little indent in the back door. I really like how that just kind of flows out of the bodywork. And it ties it in with the Tucson and the Kona and the other crossovers in Hyundai's range. You've also got some faux roof bars going on. And then round the back, I think this might be the weakest angle for the car, because I'm just not sure about this kind of rear window styling. So this top bit is glass, and then the bottom bit is contrast paint. And then there's a light bar that isn't a light bar. So that never lights up. But it kind of, I don't know, it just makes the rear window look really long, which I'm just not sure about. But let's take a look in the boot. So here we have the boot. It's 401 litres, and it does have quite a few good features. So I'll start with the false floor, which I can lift out from this lowered position if you want to come and look at this. Here it is in its lowered position, and then I lift it out. You can see the tyre repair kit down there, hidden away, and the 48-volt system hidden under the floor. Then I can pop it here, and if I do this correctly, it's then more flush with the back of the car, and importantly, when you fold the rear seats down, it's also a more continuous load space. So I cannot do that from here. I'll pop those down. And then this has a weird trick it can do. So instead of fully removing it, I can do this. And then say you had a load that was too tall for the parcel shelf to be in place, instead of having to sort of just abandon it wherever you've been shopping or leave it awkwardly on the boot, you can put it here. I guess you can then also use this as a sort of rudimentary load separator if you want to put separate big things when the seat's folded. As you can see, you've got a luggage net, you've got a little cubby to the side here, and also somewhere to attach maybe a fire extinguisher, luggage hook as well, and a subwoofer, so you can listen to all of your tunes. But what about where you'll be listening to those tunes? Let's go and look in the seats. In the back seats, there's not a huge amount of room, but there is more room than you would find in the Kia Stonic. Obviously, this shares a platform with that car. You have one seat back pocket, you have a power port down in the centre, you have bottle holders in the doors, Isofix in the seats, behind little zippers so you won't lose any covers or anything. You've got little clips in the doors to keep the seat belts out of the way when you fold the seats up and down. The seats themselves are quite comfortable, though the backrest feels rather upright, but I do have enough headroom. Surprisingly, knees are tight against the front seat. For me, this is in my driver's position. The seats are cloth, actually, and the pattern on them is a choice that Hyundai have made, as well as is the two-tone pattern on the doors, but that actually continues in the front, so I'll speak more about it there now. Okay, so here in the front of the Bayon, it is very familiar for anyone who's been in a smaller Hyundai product, so this kind of centre console area is screen, then plinth, with the climate controls on, one zone climate in this car. This is the ultimate spec, so top spec model with the top spec drivetrain. So that's a 1 litre mild hybrid turbo 3-cylinder with 118 brake horsepower and 172 newton meters of torque. 0 to 62 time of just over 10 seconds, 10.4 seconds. But just before we set off driving, I'll quickly talk you through the practicality of the cabin. So you've got a glove box here, which is nice and big. wireless Qi charger down there with all your power ports, USB for the Android Auto or Apple CarPlay, 12-volt power socket if you need it, and then another USB on this side, all USB-A's, just like the power in the back. You've got a few more controls down here, so you've got your heated seats, your reversing camera, very nice, and your drive modes, which I don't know if you can see that, but if I press that, the gauges change, and also the steering weight's up a little bit, and the throttle responds better in sports mode, and it rev matches. But I'll leave it in eco for now. Manual gearbox, proper handbrake, 2 cup holders here, centre storage cubby. It's quite small, but the armrest does slide forwards, though obviously it slides back to let you access your cup holders, or if you're a bit tall like me, I don't need the armrest further forwards. Big door bins with a cutout for a bottle holder, and you've got all your lights and stuff up here, but no sunglasses holder, unfortunately. The interior materials are the same as the back, so you've got this two-tone dashboard. Generally, when I'm sat in a Hyundai, I don't think of the cabin as appearing to be cheap. None of the materials have changed in here. All that's changed is the colour, and for some reason, this is just coming off a little less premium to me in this grey. If it was all a darker colour, I think it would feel better, but there's just something of the Windows 97 to it. Dated, basically. Steering wheel is leather wrapped, but the seats are fabric still. This pattern, I'm not sure about. It kind of looks like the seats are faded. They haven't, obviously. One of my friends likened it to a municipal bus from Stoke-on-Trent. I've not ridden the bus in Stoke, so you can tell me in the comments if that's right or not. But on to the drive. I'm going to start by talking about the clutch. This has a very, very clever clutch system, basically, where it's fly-by-wire, and if you don't know what that means there's no physical attachment between the clutch pedal and the actual clutch in the gearbox. It's all being done by computers. What this means is that on the motorway, the car can turn the engine off and coast when you're going downhill or something like that, which is, in theory, saves you fuel and gets you better fuel economy and reduces your emissions. Obviously, couple of downsides. If the clutch is not attached to the clutch pedal, is not attached to the clutch, it means there is no feeling of any kind in the clutch pedal. I've found throughout this week I routinely struggle with feeding the clutch in smoothly. I've not had a problem with stalling the car. It just can be a bit juddery on the set off. There we go. And it can be a bit disconcerting when you're driving down the motorway and the car turns off. I mean, obviously the car doesn't turn off, but the engine turns off, and that, I would get used to it, but at the moment I'm like, oh, why is the car stopped? Now, my main problem with this system is it doesn't seem to be netting me any extra MPG versus the Kia Stonic I had on test, which had the exact same powertrain but a normal clutch. So I'm just not sure what the benefit is in the real world for all this extra complexity and odd feeling. However, there are lots of good things about this car, so let's talk about them. The handling itself is very good. This is a good platform. There's lots of great cars on this platform, the i20, i20N, the Stonic that I've already mentioned. So there's lots and lots of grip in the chassis, which is fantastic. All the pedal weights are nice and light, so it's a relaxing car to drive. It's easy to drive on the motorway. It's got smart stuff on it, so it'll auto steer for you. In the manual model, you do only get traditional cruise control, but if you want radar cruise control, you can get the automatic, and then you also won't have the clutch thing going on. And then it will basically drive itself down the motorway, which is lovely. It does also rev match for you in sports mode, as I've mentioned. Let's get it going. So it's a nice torquey unit. It's 172 Newton meters, but that's available from 1,500 RPM, which is almost diesel territory. So you feel quite urgent going down the road, which is nice. The engine's a little vocal under acceleration, but it also sounds quite nice, so it's not the worst thing in the world. The suspension, however, everything else being beautifully light, on lower speed or broken surface roads can be a little bit crashy, which I think is a shame, because otherwise this would be the very comfortable end of the scale for this size of vehicle. It does settle down nicely on a faster road or a motorway though, so this does make a very good motorway cruiser. You've got that torquey engine, you've got the smart cruise assists, and it's just nice and relaxed, nice light inputs on the steering. The seat itself, it's all manual adjustments, and I've found that if you have it sat all the way down, which is how I like to have my seat, the angle's quite steep, but again I like that. It's buckety for me. There's not the best back support, and there's no adjustable lumbar, so if you have maybe a slightly dicky back, you might want to consider something with adjustable lumbar support. But I've been comfortable. I've done about 8 hours of motorway driving in this now, and it's very, very good on the motorway. It's also very good in town with the light steering. It's just that clutch is... I think if this was automatic, which is available as a dual clutch automatic, and the Hyundai dual clutch gearbox is excellent, I think I would like it more, but I just can't get along with this clutch. Screens, it's the normal stuff, so adjustable on the driver's screen for what drive mode you're in. If you're in sport mode, you get carbon fibre dials with red outlines, very, very racy. And you've got the usual Hyundai touchscreen here with Android Auto on a cable, so I've got that plugged in. As you can see, it loads very quickly, which is nice. Then I can go back to Hyundai system with these haptic buttons underneath the screen. Obviously they're not great to use on the move, but it means there's always permanent shortcuts to get you back to where you want to go. You can hear the lane departure going there. So yes, this has lane departure warning, and it is not a friend of the British B road, as you would find in any other car with lane departure warnings. I do have other luxuries in here. I've got a heated steering wheel, I've got heated seats, this being the ultimate model. So you've got comforts, you've got technology. I mean, it's a classic Hyundai fully rounded package. They're really good at that, and it's on a very, very capable platform, and it has more space in the back than a good number of its rivals, especially at this price point. So as a small family car, it's coming off tops. The manual shift itself, the gearbox action, is lovely. Very tight gate, 6-speed, straight backwards and forwards for the throws. Very pleasant to use. I think once I got used to this clutch, I would enjoy this car a lot. But I'd rather have a car I didn't have to get used to, I guess. Anyway, let's put all of that together and do a bit of a conclusion. Right then, the Bayon. What am I thinking? Well, if you need some affordable, comfortable family transport, this has plenty of room in the back for kids. The boot's nice and versatile. Everything's light and comfortable. I would not buy the manual. I just think that clutch is too weird. Get an auto. It's not that much more money. The auto's great. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like, comment, and most importantly, subscribe. You'll find all of the links in the description to all of our social medias. You'll also find we have a couple of ways to support the channel. You can buy some lovely channel merchandise, link in the description, or you can become a channel member. So please do one or all of those things, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.